This can mean a few things, right? Eventually, we relocated our business to San Francisco for strategic reasons, partnerships and other reasons. So in one sense, you can say you can kind of be a big fish in Provo or a smaller fish somewhere else. And I don't think that's necessarily the right metaphor, because there are fabulous companies that have grown here. And I think what we can accomplish here and the talent we can attract is on par with the rest of the nation. I really think that. Future businesses that I'm involved in, I will always look to right here to recruit talent and grow a business. But that said, for different reasons, we relocated to San Francisco. But the other part of this is, when you're kind of the big fish in your company, so think of this fishbowl as sort of your company, you own it, right? You make the decisions. That equity in the company and the decision-making power, the board of directors is like us. When you raise money, there's a trade-off, right? Now you have someone else in part of that, in that decision-making process. And we did that twice. So we raised a round of angel investment, and then which is angels like smaller investors, like individuals, they call them angels, or angel investors. And then you probably know all that. I just don't know where you're all coming from in terms of your classes, so I'm not trying to, anyway. And then you have venture capital. So we raise both, and the venture capital is typically larger. These are professional investment firms, and that's what they do. That's their business, is investing in companies and expecting a return. And that changed the feel of how decisions were made. And that's a real trade-off, right? Because we went from all three founders being on the board to one of us. And so that's different. Let me pause for a minute. In the very back? Sure.
You kind of talked about this a little bit, but as far as like gaining revenue, that seems to be one of the biggest things that I struggle with when I come up with ideas. I mean, you're on a social platform. Facebook struggles hugely with gaining revenue. For you, how much of a focus was that, and how did you make that transition from just getting investment capital and into creating revenue?
Yeah. So part of it was understanding really closely what our clients, so we have customers, students, or users, and then we have clients, our paying clients. Our business model is that American universities commit money to a marketing fee or being able to reach our users, right? And depending on to the extent they want to reach them, we have 4 million users. If they want to reach a small portion, there may be a fee of X, and if they want to reach a large portion, it could be like 10X, right? So for us, it was understanding where the rub was for them to sort of say, well, look, you have some budget. Where does it go to now, and what return do you get? And when we were able to understand, well, wow, that school spends, $200,000 a year on print material, reaching these 10 states, then we started to look at it. And what that did was it informed then how we could keep a good experience, but sort of reverse engineer based on needs. So it was, I think in all cases, it's understanding what your clients or your users really want. And it changes. I mean, I think when we first started the business, I was 25 or so. So I felt like I kind of remember what it was like in high school, but I knew I was far enough along that, we looked to the youngest founder to actually be have the biggest voice in that stuff. Nowadays, I have to be really careful. I can't assume I know how you all use the web, because there is a little bit of a gap. And so focus groups and focus groups both with users, and even we bring colleges in regularly to our San Francisco office to sit them down and really just talk and understand, because we view this as a partnership. We hate the idea of being a vendor. We really want to say, no, we're in this with you. You have real challenges. Hey, we've got a lot of smart people working really hard and a lot of money in the bank that we can deploy to build cool tools and features to help you. Does that make sense?
So it comes down to just kind of maintaining that communication with the customer? Is that really what it kind of comes down to?
Yeah. I think that's a great way to summarize it. Yep. Right here.
How did you measure yourself in regards to how do you know whenever you kind of gathered the nation in this endeavor?
Yeah. So
from whenever you were starting, so your measurements, we got 5 schools here. How would you measure that?
There were definitely benchmarks that we set, targets, goals. When we got our first school to just sign something committing to us, I mean, we're posting that and making a big deal. Those wins are so exciting. You can, as a business, nowadays, of course, the dollars are bigger and the reach is bigger, but nothing is quite as sweet as just your first dollar. I mean, we remember the first dollar, right? It's like when you're in a restaurant, you see the first dollar. We had our first dollar. We remember the first schools that came on board. A big part for us was 6 months into the business, we get a call from a publicly held company, really recognizable brand in higher education. And they want to fly us out to Santa Monica and want to talk to us and eventually make an offer to buy our company. 6 months of work, $1 million is what they offered, right? So you start doing the math, I'm like, wow, like that's more money than I would have ever made in that amount of time. There's 3 founders, our 4 people, like you start doing the math and you're like, hey, like this is not bad. So that was, did a few things. We turned it down because, I remember we're sitting in a McDonald's in Santa Monica, California. We're going in there like, we can buy anything on that menu. Like, we were amped up, right? But then we sort of sat down and we kind of calmed down and realized, like, we're 6 months into this. Let's see what we can do. And frankly, that's one part of it is some exit, right? Making money in what you do. But you find out, you can be just as happy. Like, I'm really probably no happier than when I made a tenth of what I make, when we were working for free. I mean, right? You start looking at those things and, I'm kind of preaching to the choir here, but there's other things that are important. Well, for us, with our business, it was we want to have real impact. If we were just seeing a little impact for kids, we want to really help kids. We want to hear more of these stories of the kid in Wisconsin who got recruited by a school in Nevada, and this school in Nevada recruiting their first kid out of Wisconsin because we helped them overcome that barrier because they didn't have the ability to travel and recruit kids from Wisconsin, you know what I mean? So that validated what we were doing, gave us a sense of, wow, if this company cares what we're doing, is offering us some money, we know we're onto something. And then there's just benchmarks in the business. We know our market size, right? So whatever you do, if you sell safety pins, you're going to probably do some research and find out how many safety pins are produced and where they go and who are the biggest buyers and what sizes and things. So we knew and we had a bearing of our reach. So today we can tell you we have, X% of all high school seniors have a Zinch profile. We know those type of statistics. And you just have benchmarks along the way, to get your team excited. Did I give you a book? Okay.